What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Taurean Reloaded channel. If you are new, please be sure to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Also be sure to have your bell click and have your notifications set to all so you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video or go live. Also be sure to like, comment, and share this content on your various social media platforms. So today I wanted to come on here and talk about this individual who goes by the name of Ricci Tres. Their name is spelled R-I-C-C-I, so I don't know if they're pronouncing it Ricci or Ricci Tres. And this individual competed in a skateboarding event and they ended up winning first place. Now now that I've gotten that little part out of the way, now we about to head down the rabbit hole with this one. So this person, this Ricci Tres person, while they identify as a woman, they're not biologically a woman. This person was biologically born as a man, and I'm going to actually show you a picture of how they looked before they started to do their quote-unquote transition as I go along with this story. But what makes this story even more interesting, and not in a good way, is not only is this person competing in this skateboarding event as a trans woman, but they also competed against other biologically born females. And to make matters even worse, as if they weren't already bad, this person was competing against minors. And when I say minors, I'm talking about other females who were not 18. They were either 17 or younger. And the person who was the runner-up is a 13-year-old girl. I'm trying to figure out how in the world did this person even get in the competition? Because one, their age gives them an advantage, and two, their testosterone levels as being biologically born a man gives them a major advantage as well. So this person literally double dipped into what I call the unfair advantage category. One, they're biologically born a male competing as a woman, and two, the age gap. Remember, the runner-up was a 13-year-old girl. And trust, it gets even more wilder from here. Like, that's just a little summary, but let me go ahead and get into this. The transgender skateboarder, age 29, who claimed first prize in a New York City women's competition this weekend. And by the way, I'm recording this video on June 28, 2022. Defeating their 13-year-old and 10-year-old competitors is a divorced ex-Navy father of three who was rejected from the women's Olympic qualifiers last year because their testosterone levels were too high. Now, you want to know what's so crazy about this? I had to take out when they said her in the article and replace it with their. So imagine if I read this as they were rejected from the women's Olympic qualifiers last year because her testosterone levels were too high. Testosterone and her should not be in the same sentence because women don't have testosterone, they have estrogen. It's like one big, it's mind blowing. Ricci Tres, age 29, beat 13-year-old Shiloh Katori to claim first prize at the Border Street skating contest at the Lower East Side Coleman Skate Park in New York City on Saturday, taking home $500. The competition was open to all ages and abilities, but its heats and finals were segregated by gender. Tween Shiloh, who won the event last year, insists she is not at all upset by the result and says Ricci should not be able to compete, and that's wherein lies the issue. Granted, she's only 13. However, the allowance of this happening is why it's continuing to happen. When you don't call it out of fear of what you might be called and it's going to be some kind of transphobic or whatever, F all of that. It's an unfair advantage. Like I said, the age and because this person is not biologically a female. However, others, including fellow skater Taylor Silverman, said it's unfair they have to compete against someone who developed as a man, making them taller and stronger than their competitors. And also, before I go any further, remember this thing said this person was married and had 3 kids and it was a part of the Navy. When I get part like to the end of this article, I'm gonna show you what they looked like before and how they looked here. Now DailyMail.com can reveal that Tres tried to enter the Women's Street USA Skateboarding National Championships in a bid to qualify for the Olympics, but that they were rejected. They took hormones, but found afterwards that they still have too much testosterone in their body to meet the requirements of the International Olympic Committee. Tres was born Richard Batres, and before they began taking hormones, what they say is an extent of the transition, served 4 years in the U.S. Navy as a machinist, petty officer of the second class. As Batres, they married their wife Hannah, and the pair welcomed 3 children, the youngest of which is still a toddler. Ricci and the ex-wife are now divorced, but as of last year, they were still living together as co-parenting in Los Angeles. The 3 kids call them mom and tell them See, it's hard for me to read this as it's written. I'm gonna just read it as it's written. Y'all just gotta bear with me because it's kind of hard to throw this in there because it don't hurt if I can get $1 for every time her was written in this article. So I'm gonna just read it as it is. Her 3 kids call her mom and tell her she is pretty. She revealed in an interview last year. I am 28. I have 3 kids. I'm married. I did my time in the military. I own a company. I decided that I like being pretty and cute. So everything that goes with that is female. I love female bodies. I think it is a work of art. Let me keep on going. I know I will never be a woman because women are miraculous. They have babies and create life and do all of that awesome stuff. I'll never have that ability, but I feel like I am a woman. And see, that's the thing when it comes to Halti. They see how this person said they feel like a woman. So by them saying that, a lot of them will say that they will warp their minds into saying that they are a woman because they feel like a woman. If I was to walk out and say, I feel like a cat today, does that mean I'm going to go around and start walking on all fours and giving myself a cat bath? I would have wished to be born one, so I'll try to fill that image as much as I can for myself, and pretty much involves being as cute as can be, she said. The company she was referring to was Modern Estates, an LA-based construction company she runs with her ex-wife. Her Guatemalan parents, however, are less accepting. In a video shared with the USA Skating Board, Ricci's father screams in Spanish, mocking her, "I can't do anything because I'm a woman. F you." In an accompanying interview, Ricci told USA Skateboarding Robert Brink that she does not think she or any other transgender athlete should have to take more hormones to meet gender category requirements because it mutilates their bodies. Well, that's funny because you're mutilating your body by transitioning. I mean, why not go the distance? I mean, if you feel like taking the hormones will mutilate your body because you're trying to be that as a woman, then why isn't it mutilating your body if you're getting the physical outside part done as well? Like, that makes no sense. I thought it was a package deal. You can't ask an elite professional athlete to compromise their health. Besides the fact that I've explained transitioning as a sense of enlightenment has nothing to do with your testosterone level. It's a matter of decision and your feelings, and you finally decided to be you, she said. She showed a gallery of photographs of her as a man, serving as the USS Abraham Lincoln and posing with her then pregnant ex-wife. It's unclear when exactly she began taking the hormones, but she says that is the extent of her transition. My doctor has asked me how I feel, and if I want to step up my dosage, I'm content. I'm really happy with where I am. It wasn't until this whole Olympic standard thing where I had to reconsider where I was going with it. The International Olympic Committee has not weighed in on Ricci's comments, and Team USA did not respond to inquiries on Monday. Taylor Silverman, another skateboarder, says she has been beaten by transgender competition in the past and doesn't believe that it is fair. I have been skateboarding for 11 years and competing for several years. I have been in 3 different contests with trans women, 2 of which I placed second. At the last contest series I did for Red Bull, I placed second. The trans competitor who won took $1,000 in qualifiers, $3,000 in finals, and $1,000 in best trick. This totaled to $5,000 prize money meant for female athletes. I took $1,000 in qualifiers and $1,750 for second place, so $2,750 in total. The girl who deserved $1,000 for best trick took nothing, along with whoever who would have placed third. I am sick of being bullied into silence, she said in a post earlier this month before Ricci won the border competition. Shallow Couture, the 13-year-old who was beaten out of the prize money at the border competition, released an Instagram video on Monday saying she wasn't upset at all about Ricci's participation. I want to address everything that's been going on. I don't really have time right now because I'm trying to achieve my dreams of going to the Olympics. Well, if this continues to go forward, you may not qualify. Now imagine that people like this can come in and they could literally shoehorn their way in and bump someone who should qualify for it out of it. All that work down the drain. I really appreciate everyone just trying to stick up for me, but I'm not upset at all, like at all. If anything, I'm really worried about how Ricci must be feeling. I really admire her courage. Hey, at this point, this girl must be accepting of the loss. That other one who really spoke her mind, kudos to her. The 13-year-old, she's young. She doesn't understand what's going on. Apparently, hopefully when she gets older, she'll snap out of it. Because it's that accepting nature, which is why this is allowed to happen. Quiet as it's kept. I can't imagine how awful this must feel to see all this hate from all these people. Skateboarding is a wonderful sport. We accept and love everyone no matter how they choose to be identified. We're not judgmental people, she said. Basically, this little girl gave the most political correct response. It's almost as if it was written down on a piece of paper for her. I almost don't want to believe that she meant it, but maybe she did. Now I'm going to show y'all a picture of how this person looked as a man, or when they identified as a man. There you go right there. This is how this person looked when they were identifying as a man, back when they were in the Navy. So you can see low cut, got the mustache. And you know what's so crazy? All you got to do with this person is just take the mustache off and grow the hair out. And that's basically how they look right now, as the previous picture. Now, one of the reasons I'm making this video too is not only because of the story itself, because the story itself is wild as it is. Unfortunately, it won't be the last time we hear a story of that caliber. But I wanted to talk about also because if you remember, and it's kind of hard to forget since it's still fairly recent, when they overturned Roe versus Wade, you had King Coon himself, Clarence Thomas, come out and talk about them scaling back on same-sex rights, or as I like to call it, academy rights. I remember back in 2013, I believe it was 2013, when Barack Obama had made same-sex marriage legal on a national scale. And I said to myself then, and that's crazy to believe that I was 24 at the time when that happened. I said to myself then, this is only the beginning. This is not the end. It's not going to begin and end with same-sex marriage. It's going to escalate and elevate beyond that. And sure enough, it has. Hence the story I just read for you. You have Hall team members competing against other females in sports and winning, even to the point where now they're competing against minors, like the story I just read, and winning. You got that Leah Thomas thing competing in swimming and winning. You got the whole restroom situation and a host of other things. That goes beyond just being able to be married or get married and have it be recognized on a national level. That is now you have overstepped your boundaries. And what's crazy is this is coming from a group of people who are like the smallest minority in America. And not talking about ethnicity, because it's definitely not ethnicity, because when it comes to the academy, it doesn't matter what your ethnic background is, even though we know who's really pulling the strings over there. But the smallest minority as far as identified groups go. And then when it comes to Hall T, they are a minority within a minority, because you have the academy itself and all the little enclaves under it, including the T. But the T, I would like to say, is smaller than the L, the G, and possibly even the B. But they are the ones that not only seemingly make the most noise, but they also seem to be the ones that cause the most drama. Oh, and also let me throw in that whole drag queen story time too. And also the most recent things that have been happening, like having drag shows in clubs and having kids be there and tipping them in the club. Like, I know y'all seen those videos. That's another thing. And don't get me started on some of the stuff they be doing at those parades. I saw a video on Instagram where somebody literally dressed up as they had a costume on where it was in the shape of a penis, and it was a penis, and I think it was either a penis in a vagina or a penis in a butt. And they literally were dressed up, and they were taking their body and like going up and down in a bent formation where the penis part of the costume was inserting into whatever hole that was, right there in the street at what apparently looked like a parade. And it most likely was, because it was in June. And you know, June is quote unquote Pride Month. And that's another thing. When they got their Pride Month, that's when it really escalated. Now, am I saying that all of them engage in that kind of degenerative behavior? No, I am not, because that would be me dealing in absolutes. However, when this kind of stuff right here happens, then there lie in a problem, an issue. Now, what's crazy is here you have me, a man, calling this stuff out and saying how wrong it is. But what's sad is that you have, unfortunately, impressionable young teenage girls like the one who was the runner-up to this guy. Yes, I called him a man. In this skateboarding competition that was meant for women and females. Saying there's not an issue. Either she was scared of the backlash, which I'm going to be honest, she probably wouldn't have received any backlash. All she would have had to just say is express how unfair it was without going overboard and like saying, being disrespectful, even though him competing against him is disrespectful enough. Just speak your mind. But she gave a politically correct answer. And like I said, I don't know if that was her speaking her mind or if someone told her to say that. I want to believe someone told her to say that with a hint of her speaking her own mind. Or maybe, like I said, she was just scared of the backlash, because that group has been known to be very toxic and call everything phobic. That's another thing. Like I said, it's more cons than pros. But when I think about when Clarence Thomas said that, as much as a coon as he is, I said I know where he's coming from when he said that. It wasn't just about the marriage thing. It was about the stuff that came after it that had nothing to do with the marriage or the same-sex marriage. It's also when you are taking spots that are meant for people that are not only identify as this gender, but were born that as well and have been that their whole life. Like literally, this guy has identified as a man for the chunk of his life. He just started identifying as a woman or as a trans woman probably within the last year or so. Like, remember, they said in the story in the article that one of his children is still a toddler, which means this child was born within the last year or two. So he's only been living as a trans individual at least for the last 1 to 2 years tops. Meanwhile, the girl that he beat has been living as a female XX chromosome for 13 years. She doesn't have to go around saying she identifies as a female because that's what she is. This person says, I identify as a trans woman because I like being cute. I like being pretty. I like wearing female clothing. I feel like a woman. That doesn't make you a woman. I'm just saying. But that's pretty much all I have for this story right here. I can't wait to see what y'all have to say down in the comments, and I'll talk to y'all later.